We are back, and it seems like I'm doing the show solo. There we go.
Seems like only you are back.
We are back. It is episode 63 of the Metal Roundtable. I am Metal Rob, and with me, as always, is the great
Carcass John.
Carcass John Fossum, also known as Circus John and Car Crash John and Caracas John. I don't know any other ones.
I don't know any other ones either.
Yeah, I don't.
Circuitous John.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Hey, I got to use a big word, right?
Well, I'm not going to have any trouble reading your shirt, obviously.
Oh, well, I see it's a DIY shirt because I couldn't find one soon enough. So anyway, it's a design I had done for them, and I just stuck it to my chest. So
nice. Well, let's see your real shirt too.
Okay, here it is. Go ahead, read it.
You're gonna have to get closer. I can't see it.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Oh, okay. Livid. That's easy.
Yep.
Tell me about Livid.
Well, I sort of wore it for. I hate to get political on the show, but that means I'm going to get political. So I just this the only type of violence I want to see coming out of Kenosha, Wisconsin. These guys are a grind violence band, and they're awesome.
John. That's right. Henry reminded me about Crocus John. That's right. What's up, Terry?
All right.
Isaiah's in the house as always. Cool, man. You got any shout outs for us today? Because we have a special guest coming up. So
yeah, I have a quick shout out to Nikki Belmore of formerly of Toxic Holocaust and a million other bands, and currently of
nice
Dee Snider, and this thing freaking rules.
That album is crushing, man.
Dee Snider live, and the production's killer. It's got Dee explaining a few things about life and love and heavy metal, and it's really, really awesome. And even how he came about to make this crushing new record. And so anyway, shout out to him. And I did get a package from Clay Newell of Rescued from Life Records. That dude is still putting out just punishing, grinding, death metal-y stuff, even in the pandemic. And I appreciate him for sending me a box of goo and grind. It was awesome.
Nice. Sounds a little gross, but whatever. Awesome. Well, I have one shout out today. I want to shout out my friends at Spicoli and Big Mix Lee at Reckless Rock Radio, 89.3 KNON in Dallas, Texas, Sunday nights from 10 to midnight. Those dudes always give us lots of plugs and stuff, so we appreciate that. So I donated my cash to the fundraiser, and I got myself a nice T-shirt, KNON.org. Check those guys out. They're definitely worth it. But check it out, Carcass.
Yes, sir.
This is episode 63. How many is that in fingers? Can you show me?
That is that many plus that many.
Nice. And we have a special guest today, and we're going to talk about – let's go ahead and bring TJ Lewis from Forebode on.
Oh, the house band. Hey.
Nice.
I made it, Mom. I'm on the round table.
There we go. Awesome. Yeah, now we're all the same size. I love it. So – episode 63 is a very bittersweet episode because while we are going to celebrate things Power Trip, we are also going to lament the fact that we have lost some greatness in the past few days, that being Riley of Power Trip, and an enigmatic, amazing frontman. So we're not going to let this be super sad. We are going to celebrate all things. And TJ is going to – he has courageously and heroically joined us from Austin, Texas to talk all things Power Trip. So I'll tell you, I'm going to kind of get out of y'all's way because y'all are going to have a lot more to say about this than I will. But I'll tell you my instances of, seeing and hearing the band. So the GOAT was after me forever to check out Power Trip. He kept telling me, you got to check out this band. He kept saying they were from Denton. I don't know if they're from Denton or Dallas or what, but he kept saying that I needed to check out this band. And so I ended up picking up Nightmare Logic
Ooh.
on CD.
That's a heavy motor scooter right there, bro.
And it was awesome. I loved it. But what really sent me over the edge, was last April, this 13th or whatever, down in Houston. You and I attended the Great Hell's Heroes Festival,
Right.
Hell's Heroes 2 down in Houston.
I missed
And
that.
I was able to
I'm so
sit
pissed.
on side stage and watch those dudes play. And I've just simply never seen there are not many that can rival the power that those dudes were throwing from the stage. And I posted video on our Facebook page, which you should check out, by the way. And you can also get there through themetalroundtable.com. But I shot some side stage footage of my favorite song, The Executioner's Tax, Swing of the Axe.
Man.
So I was late to the party. I admit it. They had been around for several years by the time I caught up. But I bought all their stuff. And I bought some more goodies recently to help celebrate. But you guys are going to bring a lot more to the table than I will about Power Trip. But I can obviously tell you those are going to be huge, huge shoes to fill if it's even possible.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
100%.
what do you think, TJ? I don't know that personally. I don't know that they could really go on and moving forward. It was Riley's band anyway, and I don't know. They would have to just probably call it something else. Very much akin to the War Beast scenario or one of those. What do you think?
I mean, the good thing is that, and now people are fucking calling me on the phone. Hold on one second.
Nice.
Now, this is the ultimate production value.
That is production value right there. What happened? I thought he was getting killed for a second.
I don't know what happened.
Here's what I think about that situation. It's one of those things where I don't know, because I don't know so much about the band, it seems to me like there's a good chance that he was the personality of the band. So I hope for the sake of the band that they go on. They're going to have to find somebody special, obviously. But, man, I rekindled my love for Alice in Chains, and it doesn't come more iconic than that. And William Duvall is crushing it. So I hope that at some point they are able to carry on in some form or fashion. But, yeah, go ahead, TJ. Back to you, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the bittersweet thing that comes out of it is that the members of the band all have other bands that are also really popular that maybe they'll be able to play in a lot more that we haven't seen in a while, like Chris Olsch, the drummer. He's in a shit ton of bands. Most recently, he was the guitar player of Iron Age. And then you have like Blake Ibanez, who plays guitar for Power Trip, and he is the guitar player also for Eternal Champion, which is the singer of Iron Age's other band, which I know whenever I was at Kargs' house, we talked about briefly. So if there's some, big resurgence of those guys playing, to honor Riley in that way, I think that'd be really cool. And I think a lot of people would be really stoked to see more Iron Age around and more Eternal Champion, especially around here. I don't think I've seen them more than once because they don't often play. But I think they're at Hell's Heroes, the show you were just talking about.
Eternal Champion?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
I saw them open for Satan at Beerland once down in Austin. That was cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the show you were talking about.
Yeah, they were great.
But I was talking with a friend, and I don't know. Me personally, I feel like Power Trip, has to kind of end at this point. Like you said, I mean, Riley was the enigmatic frontman. He was, the personality of the band on stage, with bringing the energy and everything. I wouldn't say that it was entirely his band because they all, I mean, down to the single bass drumming that they did that really no other thrash band does. and keeping that groove tight. Like they were just fucking insanely good at writing music. But I was talking with a friend and he said like the only way it would make sense for Power Trip to go on is maybe if Chris Olsch, the drummer, does vocals from now on. He does vocals currently for Mammoth Grinder, if you've heard them. So
oh wow, yeah.
Another Austin band that just blows my mind every time I see it. In fact, I saw Power Trip for the very first time with Mammoth Grinder and Chris Olsch's other band at the time, Hatred Surge. It was like a duel. He was on vocals and this girl Faiza was on vocals at the same time. And it was just like pounding grindcore. So if you go on YouTube, look up Mammoth Grinder and Hatred Surge's Split, and it's one of the best fucking records to come out of Austin in a long time. So,
can we talk about Rat or Dawkins soon? Because
no, not today. Not today. We're not
talking about grindcore.
I told you.
White Lion, maybe.
Well, hey, TJ, do you remember the band ANS?
Yeah.
Early hardcore. Now, weren't there members of Power Trip that were in ANS also?
I don't actually know. I think when I was over at your house with Eddie that first time, you showed me the LPs that you had, and one with like the grip tape LP. But I don't know if any of the Power Trip members are in there. Maybe because really it's been all the same members except for that they had one drummer change. Like whenever I first started to see them, they had a different drummer and they had a fill-in drummer for a couple of shows. But then Olsch came in. Like I think maybe 2013. I can't remember, but I do know that Riley's old band was called Balls Out, and they were really fucking cool. So
yeah, I'll have to do a little investigating. Maybe one of our listeners knows a little more about the ANS thing, but I think that somehow they were connected. In fact, I booked them one night, and it just was so random because I really liked the full length that they put out.
I think they were supposed to play a show up at the where we played the Gas Monkey. I think they were supposed to play with like a bunch of bands, like, and then everything got shut down. Obviously.
Yeah, and ironically, when I booked them, Mammoth Grinder had to be part of the package. So that's what leads me to believe that. And this has been 9 or 10 years ago. When I was booking the Alamo, a practice studio somewhere in the depths of the armpit of Fort Worth on Camp Bowie. But fun shows, the underground stuff is always a little more exciting. If you need to rent a security guy, it's always a little more exciting than normal. So I always had to have my buddy Jeff Chase kind of stand by the door and look intimidating, and he looks way, way more intimidating than I'll ever look. But anyway.
Well, I know that there was a lot of Power Trip shows back in the day that there was one in particular that I was talking with friends about recently that I didn't go to because I don't know. I think it was in 2011, so I was probably 20 or 21, and I just wasn't really into driving to Dallas to go to shows all that much. But I had a group of friends here in town who were called Losing Grip, a hardcore band here in town, and they were some of the early friends of Power Trip, and I met a shitload of people through going to shows there. But one show in particular that I missed that to this day I regret, and after I heard the news that Riley passed, I just literally popped open some bourbon and cracked some beers and just watched all the YouTube shows I could find. But there's one in particular from Edge Day or Not. I don't know if you've heard of this show. It's basically as soon as Power Trip started playing, people started grabbing like tables and chairs and moshing and throwing the chairs around the room and setting fireworks off the stage. And it's on YouTube if you want to watch it. But fucking no door guy there, no security guy there, man. It like some of the early Power Trip shows that I saw were just some of the craziest thwhen I've ever seen, man. Especially the South by Southwest shows.
Yeah, they really reminded me. I was telling Rob when all this went down, I said, they were like the new wave of replacement bands. I mean, we have Havoc and Toxic Holocaust and some of these bands that are kind of the up and coming, the next level of thrash or whatever. But Power Trip had sort of meteorically risen to that
Yeah.
point. And some of their shows had the same energy as I remember the Exoduses and the Violence and the Old Testament and the shows back in the, we're talking in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, that same type of energy and fury and just good, friendly, violent fun, as Exodus would say. And
Yeah.
but they had that same enthusiasm too. And I think that's what it was. It was like something new. It's almost like kids have rediscovered thrash in its truest form. And Power Trip was leading the charge of that new wave of pure thrash metal, I guess, for the lack of a better term.
Yeah, or like, for me, like I came up in the local hardcore scene, hardcore punk scene, and like for me, it's almost like Power Trip, like there's like a I don't know how to describe it, but at some point when they were getting really big, you could tell obviously that more kids were showing up to their shows, and there was definitely more metalheads that were coming to their shows. Whereas like when I first started to see them, it was all hardcore punk dudes. So it was like, a hardcore dancing pit, like people just beating the shit out of each other. And, they say no karate in the pit, but like, that's what the Power Trip shows were back in the days. And anytime really there's a show in Austin or Dallas, like any Texas show, I mean, that's how it still was till the very end. But I feel like there was like this point where their shows went from being like those super violent ones to just metalheads and everybody like jumping off the stage. Like there was still like this kind of crossover aspect to their live shows where like two worlds, hardcore and metalheads just kind of came together, and like everybody just loved it. Like it was like the most unifying shows I've ever been to. Everybody was just in love with the riffs, and they fucking riffed, man.
Oh, they riff so hard, dude.
Like that newest. I'm sorry.
How did you get into the band initially?
I can't remember. I think like in 2009, I remember there was this group of dudes that I was like kind of friends with, but I couldn't tell if they really liked me or whatever. And I remember they posted like I know it's such a weird way to start it off, but I remember that they posted a picture from a Power Trip show from 2009 at Emos. And it was like, in the hardcore scene here, like they were becoming very rapidly known, like very word of mouth. Like, dude, have you heard Power Trip? Like everybody was talking about Power Trip. And I was like, no, I haven't heard of them. And I remember commenting on the picture and saying like, damn, I've heard a lot about these guys. I can't wait to see them. And I don't know, man. I went to that show May 1st, 2010. And as soon as I saw Riley on the stage, the way that he moved and the energy that he like brought to the vocals, it was like something that I was like, I want to be Riley Gale. Fuck, man. This dude knows how to be a front man. And I'm guilty of trying to pull that off in my own way, and be kind of flashy. And I definitely think that because I've seen Power Trip so many times, like little details, like the way I hold the microphone, I feel like he inspired me like down to those little details of like what it is to be a front man and like bring energy, especially when there's like 5 people in the room and nobody could give a fuck about you. Like I want to like scare those people. And a lot of that was because, you know what I mean? Like a lot of that was because I saw Power Trip a shitload of times, man. And Riley Gale is like honestly one of the scariest and meanest sounding vocalists on the planet, but he was like just the most down to earth dude. Like I met him only a couple of times. I was always really shy to talk to him. Like I'll admit that. I've always been really shy and kind of in awe of who he was, because he was like, the pillar of Dallas hardcore. He was like the fucking guy. And I've always been shy to like just talk to people. Yeah, so many of my friends know him and have all just talked about, how down to earth he was and how he just was always, he would fucking give you the shirt off his back, and yeah, it just really, really sucks.
Yeah, that does really suck. That made me think of something that I can't remember right now because I'm a professional and I completely lost it just like that. It is completely gone. Go ahead, Carcass.
Oh, I don't know. I was just I was looking at how I've adjusted the light. It's that we are having such severe weather outside. It's almost pitch black, and
Me too.
Really?
can't decide which light to turn on or I just opened the blinds. But
Yeah, that's why it's so dark in here too.
anyway, and it is a little ironic that we're trying to desperately to praise the life of this guy and to celebrate the life of this guy. Yet it's dark and raining, and I'm reminded of Stevie Ray Vaughan. When he passed away, I actually had a chance to see him, and for the same kind of reasons, you're so blown away about the skill and the way he can just take your mind by the throat, so to speak, and take you into what he's doing. And Riley was no different. He had that way of capturing your attention immediately. You paid attention to what he was saying. You paid attention to what he was doing. And when he said, "I want to see a pit," guess what happened? Everything. And I know a lot of people do that. That's kind of the statement du jour for any metal frontman. But when he did it, it was like everyone was like, we are going to participate, whether you like it or not. And so
there's definitely a sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. He's just a very engaging guy. But to your point, I know what you're about to say, so go ahead and say it.
No, I was just gonna say, like, he had a way to figure out the crowd and like get them to like if they weren't moving around or whatever, he'd figure out a way with his banter on stage to where he would be able to just like he would say stuff. Like, I was watching the Bloodstock performance a couple days ago, and I saw the interview afterwards, and he said they played at like 11 a.m. in England, but it was the biggest crowd they had ever played for. Like, it was massive. So it was like the morning, who wants to mosh in the morning? And like, he got so many people to like fucking, do a circle pit at like 11:15 in the morning. And he would say stuff like, I think the circle pit's pretty good. Maybe we'll try an experiment later, England. What do you think? And like, people would just be like, yeah. Like, there was a way that his banter would get the crowd involved, even if they didn't want to be. And that's something I think is like really special as a front man. It's definitely something I can't do, but it's something I aspire to do, and
well, I'm gonna disagree with you, because when you get down off the stage and hold the microphone out for us to sing along with you, I always want to sing along with you. Well, growl or grunt or groan or whatever's going on at the time. So
yeah.
But to your point, yeah, he and of course Europe is a whole different animal as far as music. I mean, when I went to Wacken, I saw Aborted at 10 a.m. in the morning, and Morbid Angel soon thereafter, along with Arch Enemy. And I'm thinking,
it's crazy.
It's not even noon, and we've seen all these bands, and there's still 60,000 people fist pumping and washing and recycling their garbage and buying beer. It was so strange. So that's a whole different animal. But to your point, when an American band goes over there, it's a different dynamic. But from what I have experienced, as soon as you say the word Texas, people respond to you in a weirdly positive way, especially over in that part of the world. But
yeah. And that's actually a good segue, because another good point to bring up about Power Trip in general is that they are like the band that, personally, me, now I know I'm young, I should say ZZ Top, but for me, or Pantera, right? But Power Trip for me, as a kid going to hardcore shows, made me just like fall in love with like Texas music, like, and wanting to know more and more bands from Texas. And they really like made everybody from this state that listens to them, really appreciate Texas music a lot. So I say it a lot in comments and stuff. Or on a picture I post, I always say Texas forever. And I think I attribute a lot of that to Power Trip as well, because like, yeah, Texas forever, like Power Trip forever, Riley Gale forever. It's just, man, it's just so weird to be talking about this,
It is very odd. The thing that I like that really struck me, and I like getting struck by silly things. I always notice the silly things. But when I went and saw them at Hell's Heroes, I noticed that he's out there in like, I don't know, cut off sweatpants or something.
Yeah.
And tech hat and like hiking boots or something, and a threadbare Aussie shirt or whatever. I know I'm making this figure in my head up out of several shows that I've seen, but you would see that and you would think, oh, okay, well, let's see what this dude's got.
Yeah, right.
And then he just whipped your ass into oblivion because he was just such a badass live. That's the thing that blows me away more than anything, was he was such a badass. And then in one of the videos, I would see him walk by some of the guys and realize how much taller they were.
Yeah.
Than him. And that voice, that just crazy, perfect, hardcore metal voice coming out of that dude was just shocking.
Yeah,
and it was maybe better live than it even was on the records. So those were the things. I never met the man. I never talked to him, but I was definitely blown away by his presence on stage, which I've said. But the Riley Gale clothing closet had to be interesting.
He looked like a zookeeper sometimes, and I kept thinking that's what one of my German friends said. He says he looked like he was the guy that worked at the zoo.
Well, I don't know if you've seen it, Carcass, but there's a video from This Is Hardcore. One of the 3 years of, I think they played it 3 years in a row. But there is, to the point of stage banter, and actually, I'm actually starting to write a song, kind of about like what Power Trip meant to me and what Riley meant as an inspiration to me. But one of the shows, he literally starts the show out by saying, I know you're all wondering why I look like a zookeeper up here. And that's because I want you guys to act like a bunch of fucking animals. He's like, open up the lion's den. And like, that's literally what Riley was, every time I saw them, he was like the zookeeper, man. Like, the band would start it off, and then he's up there telling people to like, I don't know if you've ever been to the Mohawk here in Austin, but every single time I saw Power Trip at the Mohawk, there was always someone diving off that sidewall that's right next to the stage. Yeah. So, he was the beast keeper, the beast maker, man. It's funny that you said that.
I halfway expected when we were at Hell's Heroes, they had a huge balcony. And I told the guy standing next to me, I said, I am not going to be surprised if people start jumping off.
Oh, yeah.
And I was shocked that it didn't happen, and wouldn't have been surprised if it did, as dangerous as it was. But for some reason, I think people would have started doing it and nobody would have gotten hurt, because it's like a cooperative pit. It's really weird. I think the pits in Texas are much different than in other states or countries, because we're like a co-op out there. There's the guardians on the edge. There's the people in the middle. There's the kind of peacekeepers. And then there's the guys flying off the stage or flying out the balcony. It's like a coordinated effort that people just understand. Either you get it or you don't. So it's kind of fun. But yeah, the zookeeper thing, that's funny that he would even say that. In fact,
well, he was even wearing like a button-up shirt, like it looked like a Steve Irwin type of like button-up shirt
with the floppy pockets.
Yeah, exactly. So back to Rob's point, like, he always wore like stuff that I would be like, wow, that he dresses like very uniquely for a metal vocalist. Just like this most random things, but he was always, he was always wearing like something that was just completely, who he was as a person. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I credit the GOAT for turning me on to him. And I should have listened sooner, man. Should have listened sooner.
Well, thank goodness for media, because we can enjoy it. And like TJ, to your point, the first time I just kind of started browsing about Power Trip, I saw live at Strombo's.
The House of Strombo.
House of Strombo. Man, that personifies the band as a complete, but really puts him out in front. And then from there, it's just complete chaos. Philadelphia, Seattle, all these shows that you can find, and you can go down the wormhole forever. I didn't.
Oh yeah.
I didn't crack a bottle of bourbon open, but a 0.0 Heineken did get while I watched some of that. But anyway.
I'm glad that they came out with those just for you, by the way. Whenever I saw it, I was like, oh, that's going to be Karks' new thing.
It's no Texas Select, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, if I could find Texas Select, I'd include that in the stash too. But so anyway.
Yeah. One of my favorite things that Riley's ever said in a video was on the House of Strombo. The House of Strombo. There's like two things he says that are hilarious. One is, he's like, we're Power Trip, and for the next 25 to 30 minutes, I'm glad this isn't my house, obviously, and I'm glad it wasn't my house either. But there's a point where like people can't help it anymore, and they just want to mosh in this tiny area, and he just yells out, "Mosh in the kitchen, you fucking sissies, let's go!" And they turn the camera, and it's like people moshing in this dude's kitchen.
Yep.
Oh,
I just watched that night before last, and if you haven't seen Power Trip live at House of Strombo, or you can find it on YouTube. Holy cow, that is worth the 15 or 16 minutes of your time.
Yep, it sure is.
To see that, because they only played 3 songs or something, and but man, it was good. What a great freaking show! That was awesome. But I need you to, TJ, I need you to send me the link to the one with the fireworks and the.
Oh yeah.
I need to see that.
I've sent that video, or I showed that video to so many people, like especially people that I know are like, not to sound pretentious or anything, but like especially people I know that are like new Power Trip fans, or people who maybe aren't aware of their past, like from 2008 to like when they came out with Manifest, the first record, and that video is like the one thing that I show everybody is like, dude, you got to see this. It's insane. Like literally the guy who's filming gets a chair thrown and it hits the dude right next to him. And then the dude in the video that's right in front of the camera is just like, fuck, man. But like some guy comes through with one of those foldable tables and just starts going through the pit and like mowing people over.
Oh, man. Like a bulldozer.
Yeah. Good times. I regret missing that show so much. To see that one, I immediately was just like, what am I doing, man? I got to go to Dallas more. So I went to Dallas more often after that. But
now I believe you're going to be near Dallas very soon. Am I?
I believe so.
Maybe we can. I don't know that I would advocate reenacting some Power Trip shows at Casa de Carcas, because there's been some mayhem here before, and we don't necessarily want that. But anyway,
I might tell you to mosh in the kitchen at least. Come on.
I will mosh in the kitchen. I will absolutely do that.
Hell yeah.
But I can't wait for you guys to come up here. We're still trying to figure out all the particulars as far as cameras and angles and all that stuff, but it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. Hey, what's up, Eddie? I saw a couple of your compatriots from Austin this past weekend. It was great to see Fast Eddie and Nelson in tow, and we watched the Down thing, which was sensational. I was a fan of Down, but now I love Down. They're just, oh gosh, that thing was so awesome, and their homage to the not to get political once again, but their homage to the Homa Indian was really cool. And so anyway, I don't know that we can guarantee that kind of production here. We're going to do our.
Here's your production right here.
Yeah, we're going to do our darkness. That's right.
I'm just going to be so happy to get out of the house, man, and play some music with my friends, man. It's just going to be fun. Like the last time I came to Fort Worth was, I still think about it every once in a while, just like how fun it was going to the Rail Club and stuff. And so Fort Worth, Dallas forever, man. But we'll be up there. We're gonna play some tunes. We're gonna play some tunes.
I think Fast Eddie's got me just about convinced that off camera we can do God of Thunder by Kiss. And I'm going to play drums, and Rob from Faith Bomb is going to sing. We're going to try and sing. Maybe you can give him some tips, TJ, on how to.
I'm not.
And gargle, but we're going to at least do an instrumental version, and I'm going to see if I can get my chops back.
I'm telling you right now, I will not be singing, especially not live on the internet.
And,
Isn't that what you do on the internet, though?
You can take that to the bank.
That's what you're supposed to do live on the internet, Rob, is make a fool of yourself.
That's true. Yes, every Tuesday at 5, by the way.
If I'm playing drums to God of Thunder, then I'm really not. I'm really going to be making fun of myself. But
Rob
Rob on vocals, man.
I'm not doing it.
Rob.
No.
You got it, man. It's not that hard. You just got to go, God of Thunder and rock and roll.
Oh, man.
If a drummer can do it,
Night Demon can do it, and they're all right.
I'm the cameraman.
we'll figure something out. But yeah, TJ, it's going to be great to have you up here on the 19th, day before my birthday. I think I'll be 29.
61.
Sweet,
You're older than TJ's dad.
No,
Yeah.
the cat's out of the proverbial bag. Good Lord.
Yeah, my dad was
Oh,
born.
man.
October 9th. My dad was actually your birthday is the 20th or the 19th.
The 20th.
Okay, I was gonna say my dad's on the 19th.
The 21st for some reason, but that's for another day.
His dad's about to be 60. How old are you going to be, Carcass?
29 again
That's how old I am.
for the 32nd time.
Right. Oh,
Oh
man.
yeah, Eddie. Exactly, man.
We're getting
Shit.
old.
That's good.
Yes. Love is a battlefield. I like it. Did that happen?
Apparently, I knew nothing about this, but Eddie told me about it.
Hmm.
So,
Oh, wow. I love that. That's my favorite thing ever.
I did see-
Love is a battlefield. By the way, hello, Jana, Richie. Several other comments have popped up. And I didn't want to slow TJ's roll. So,
Oh no, that's fine, man.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
Eddie showed me a. Now I remember where it's from because someone posted a story about Riley about how he was like in the van or something, and it was when they were on tour, and he was talking about he was like trying to make a point that like love is a battlefield could be like a hard ass song, like people would mosh to it or whatever. I think I'm telling the story right. And they all told him like, no, dude, no, that would never work. But he, the next show that they played, he started, as soon as he started singing it, like right when they were about to start, like the pit just opened up and he was like, told you.
with Pat Benatar lyrics being screamed. I
Yeah,
love
exactly.
it. I love it. Hey, Mark, can you pop that last comment back up? Hello, Jamie. How are you? Jamie says, my favorite band of all time. John, the last show I saw them was when we saw you at Evil Beats Volume 2.
That's the beautiful wife of Alex Dominguez, a bass player for Devastation and Annihilator and some other great Texas moments. And yes, I saw them both there. It was great to see the old school, although we can't say that she's old. She's just because you don't talk about a woman's age. But anyway, yeah, that was an incredible show.
Is it the last time you saw him, Carcass?
That was the last time I saw him. Yeah.
Yeah, I
think that was the last show they played. Fast Eddie was there. And but man, talk about a stacked lineup. I mean, Carcass, Power Trip, Razor, Violence, Drab Majesty. I mean, it couldn't get much better than that.
Cinderella, Skid Row.
I know
White
that one of the things I talked to Rob about was like maybe talking a little bit about like, and I don't know how much time we have, but one of the things I mentioned was talking about bands that Power Trip got me into, and a few of those were on that show as well. One of them being Warthog.
Oh yeah,
and the other dude, they are so good. They're so underrated. And Red Death, which is honestly like very similar to Power Trip in the crossover thrash realm of things.
Yep.
But I mean, yeah, so many bands that got me, and I'm losing my train of thought now that I'm talking about it. It's that anxiety I keep talking about, man.
And that Power Trip got you into some bands.
Yeah, I got a few over here. Power Trip was one of the first like Texas thrash metal bands I got into. But if I wouldn't have heard of them and I wouldn't have met you guys, I wouldn't have heard this guy right here. So,
oh my gosh, that is like one of the pinnacles of Texas thrash metal right there, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. The
We
original
recently had
copy.
the governor on the
So
show.
I'm happy to have that one. I got a few here. Probably my top 3 favorite bands of all time. That from my youth, and I'm not talking about the big bands that made it really big, but some of the ones that are more underground or were just in a small scene. And another one of those bands that I heard of because of Power Trip is this band called War Hungry. And this with Power Trip, inspired me vocally so much. In fact, I don't know if I've ever sent Carcass any of the old like practice videos from Forebode, before Eddie and Zach were in the band. But I originally was trying to do vocals like the vocalist on that record. Just a really awesome, like crossover thrash, but they're more of a hardcore band, but they like infused groove metal. And I would credit them with being like probably the band that got me into like doom and groove metal, because it was like a hardcore band that was doing it. It was like crossover sludge doom in a way.
Wow.
But
like
they played a lot. They played a lot with Power Trip, and their guitar player Arthur Rizek is a producer who produces a shitload of bands. He produced both Power Trip records. He produced. I can't even remember everything, but he's also an Eternal Champion, Arthur Rizek, the guitar player of War Hungry. So,
War Hungry.
that-
Check that out.
I'm taking
Yeah.
notes, so forgive my look at the camera.
and probably one of my personal favorites. I would say it's one of the best records to ever come out of Austin ever is this one, Iron Age. And I saw Iron Age and Power Trip together a lot. They were like best friends. I remember when I saw them at the Mohawk, Riley specifically said like that he went to the first Iron Age show in 2004. And this is another like started out pretty hardcore punk, but this record is just like a crossover thrash masterpiece. And it's called The Sleeping Eye, if you want to look it up, by Iron Age.
Take good notes, Carcass. I need to remember all of it.
Yeah, their vocalist I've recently become friends with. He made my mic stand, and
Oh wow!
he's gonna be. I'm talking with him about making me and my fiance's wedding bands as well. He like does a lot of forging, and like he makes swords and shit like that. It's cool as fuck. So
You need a sword mic stand.
He's got that chain, that fluorescent chain link thing, kind of like a la Bruce Corbett, except for Peter Steele.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a
Yep.
Peter Steele green. I like Bruce's though, because Bruce's could like come apart in the middle, so he could hold it like he could walk around with it and have the short thing. I like that too. Jason from Iron Age, who made my mic stand, he also made kind of one of those, but it was just only the top piece, and he made one for another one of my friends, Patrick, which is a good segue because I know we're kind of making this show organic today. I didn't really shout out anything yet, but Patrick, his record just came out. It's called The Unit. They're from San Antonio. This is an ass kicker of a punk record. If you want to check it out, it's called What's It All For, and it rules. So
Nice. What else you got hiding back there?
man, so many things. I don't know if I showed you this one. Oh wait, I did. I'm just really proud of this one.
You should be, because that thing is. Well, hey, do you have the box set?
No, I'm trying to get a hold of that. I saw that it's still
Really?
online.
I know a couple of guys that might have a copy or 20 available. You want
There
green
are
or
4
black?
of them
Green.
there.
Definitely.
Do you have a green one? Metal Rob?
I don't remember.
We'll see. You just get your bearded self up here, ready to belt out some serious vocals, and we'll see what your payment plan includes. Perhaps a Gamma Side box set.
I'll come up to you and say, "Well, Carcass, did I earn the box set?
Yes.
Did I earn my allowance?"
Just from the tape, you guys, you've earned an eternal ticket. I'm gonna punch that ticket forever.
Nice.
Oh yeah, the tape.
Anyway.
The tape is awesome, man. I'm so happy that Guillermo made those. Like, I wish I had a tape player again. Like it seems like right after, the tapes came out, I had a car with a tape player, but it got totaled like right before that.
There's a person. This is how we met, because of a tape player. So guess what?
I might be able to find something.
Yeah, we'll find you something. Come on up. We're ready to have a.
I can't wait already.
You want to throw down a couple more shout outs before we wrap it up?
Yeah, sure, man. Another album that came out this week is our good friends from here in Austin. They just got signed to Napalm Records and put this record out.
Heavy label.
Nice.
Yeah, that's our friends Iniana. This is so, like, when I was playing, they're our friends, but like when I put this on, I was like, holy shit, dude, this is so good. They're like a
suggestion on YouTube yesterday. Yeah. I was listening to something, and that was the suggestion.
I mean, they got the gatefold and everything. Like, Napalm went all out for them. What
kind of stuff is it?
It's like there's a blue vinyl. It's like I would say it's like a melodic death doom. So like they're like a death metal band, but they play slow and they're very melodic. They sound a lot like Scandinavian like death metal bands, and they like play with a lot of them when they come to town. So
like Decomposed, that's one of my, or Divine Eve, or one of those bands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
they're
cool.
They're awesome friends of ours. We played so many shows with them, not nearly enough, but we're kind of, we're not really the same genre. So like, it's hard to like plan and be like, hey, let's, tour together or something. Or I guess it would be cool to maybe we could probably do a split or something with them, but it's like they're our best friends in a different realm of metal. Like we have a lot of those bands that we're really good friends with that are different, but these guys, any honor. I'll put it up one more time.
I already took the notes, man.
First thing I'm
gonna snap when I get off the air here.
So now you're keeping a secret from everybody, TJ, because I also believe you have another different kind of music project. Did you want to tell us about that?
I do.
In the interest of full disclosure. It is the Metal Roundtable.
Don't be holding back the mad hype, TJ.
Yeah, it is the Metal Roundtable, but for right now, it can be like the hip hop roundtable. So,
yeah,
tell us,
man, mad hype. I guess when it comes to, I'm pretty much done with mad hype. I'll just go ahead and put that out there in the ether. I'm pretty much done with it, just because I feel like I'm not a very good servant to hip hop. I think that there's a lot of learning I have to do before I can really put something out serious. But I started doing Mad Hype in 2011 because I wasn't in a band anymore, and I didn't want to not do music. So I think around that time I heard of those guys, Odd Future. I don't know if you've heard of them. They like pushed the bar on like being controversial and being a hip hop artist, but like they also were like skateboarders and shit, and like they, people would go to shows and go to mosh pits, or do just mosh at a hip hop show, and that's like kind of the early days of that really taking off a lot, because I feel like a lot of modern hip hop artists are, there's a lot of that kind of punk that's mixed into it now, especially at the shows. But I don't know, Mad Hype was cool for a little while. I played some South by Southwest shows, and that was really fun.
Well, can we do something when you come up here? I'm gonna lay down like a little 4/4 beat, like do some Roots type scenario, and I want you to flow and get it on film. I think that'd be cool.
I'll do you one better. How about this? I played a last show in August. It was about a year ago. I think it was actually a year ago today.
Was that when I made the shirt, the black metal shirt?
Yeah. Well, that show didn't work out because the sound was totally screwed up. I just literally just dropped the mic and gave up. I was like, this is how it has to end. But I've said that it's dead and I'm not going to do it. Guillermo was like, no, man, you got to do it again. And I was like, I don't know, man. But if we have time, I will play the whole last set that I had planned and do it in your house. How about that?
Yeah, nice.
That is awesome. I can't wait.
I think that's the only thing that makes sense. I think that's the only way to send it off.
Sure.
So,
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, will Mad Hype open for Forebode, or will Forebode open for Mad Hype? Because that's
Forebode's got to open for Mad Hype, man.
okay.
Of course they do.
That's what
I mean, I gotta work my ass off to get Mad Hype out of prison. So
There you go.
because he was in there for not paying his taxes because of a pandemic. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
I love it. Yeah, we'll start a
I love
Kickstarter.
I got one last thing to shout out here, and then I'm done. I'll leave you guys alone. But this is something that came out recently that I don't know if a lot of people know about it or paid attention to it. Maybe they have. Maybe I'm wrong. But this is a record called Masterpiece Machine. And this is the last thing that you'll hear Riley do on vocals because this was a side project he did with fucking forgetting who, like maybe someone in the comments knows, but this is a really cool, like very different from Power Trip thing that Riley did. And it's like really industrial sounding and he's kind of doing kind of the same vocals on it, a little bit, kind of like leaning into the Power Trip style vocals, but not entirely. But I mean, look at the record.
Interesting.
It's really cool, man. And look at this record, man. I mean, this is one of the coolest records I've ever gotten.
Nice.
Wow.
This is a single. I was making a joke with the other guys in the band. This is a single, so it has one track on each side, and it's a 12-inch.
I think that record color variant is called High School Friday Night.
Yeah, it's called Bluebell Birthday Cake flavor.
I love it. Hey, brother. Well, first of all, I'm glad that you came on. Second of all, I'm glad that you're wearing a Devastation shirt and a camouflage Power Trip hat. And third of all, I am glad that you came on to help us celebrate the life of the great Riley Gale, whom I only saw once, but man, he killed it. So definitely lots and lots of love going out to the dudes in Power Trip.
Yeah, man.
And rest in power, Riley, for sure. What are your parting thoughts, gentlemen?
The band is like we said. There's 4 guys that are missing their brother, and they need to be supported and so forth too. And who knows what their future is? I know they've got, like DJ said, they have a ton of side projects, and maybe one of those comes more to the forefront, and they play a Power Trip song every now and then in Mammoth Grinder to sort of as an ode to Riley. But anyway, much love to those guys. They're good dudes. Killer band. It's just unbelievably unfortunate. This has been the weirdest year, and I've been around a lot of years, many years.
Yeah.
And this is definitely the most weird year I've ever experienced in my life. It's just
Gosh, me too, man.
And I wanted to thank Rob too for dedicating one of those shows to my grandma. She passed away in June. So like this year just sucks, man. Like let's get it over with.
Yep.
Right.
Cheers, brother. Anytime. We're definitely glad to have you, and definitely glad to celebrate all things Power Trip, whatever that may be going forward. It remains to be seen. But
yeah, man.
I would like to say thank you again for coming on the show. You're welcome anytime. Forebode is the official house band of the Metal Roundtable. We will see you on the 19th, and the GOAT is he's gonna poop his pants when he gets to see
I'll make sure I have extra Charmin in the house.
Watching, I don't think he knows that yet, but yeah,
Also, just wanted to really quick say that I love all my friends too that knew Riley, because I have so many that they were up there for the funeral too, and I kind of feel a little bit of imposter syndrome sometimes when I talk about Power Trip, just because I didn't really know Riley very well, and I had so many friends who did. So I feel like he could have really had anybody else talk about Power Trip. I am just a spectator to their complete insanity, and they've inspired me. Riley will still inspire me for a long time, and I think maybe he's really just kind of showed me how to be uncomfortable on stage and really kind of push the limits of who I am as a vocalist. So if that's anything I can say about Riley, it's that. So
Yeah. I had a friend that I was talking to this week. My buddy Andrew was talking about how he had met him so many times and had gotten to know him and what a nice dude he was. And that's the only thing I've heard is people say nothing but amazing things about Riley. So rest in power, dear brother. Our thoughts go out to the rest of Power Trip and all the friends and family out there. Like I said, we don't pretend to know the man. We just wanted to celebrate the life and times of the great Riley Gale. So, TJ, thanks again for being on the show, brother.
you betcha, bro.
Cheers to you, man.
Cheers.
I guess everybody's getting in the game here.
Is this what we're doing?
There's the thumbnail. That's the thumbnail right there.
There it is. All right, are y'all ready? Because you know what happens now, right, TJ?
Of course I know. Let me just get ready.
Yeah. We got you. I think he's ready.
God.
All right.
I think he is ready.
Next time. Metal
Metal will prevail.